everyone. Are you guys out there? Oh, yay. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Brett's mom. Glad to see you guys here. I'm going to wait a few minutes to before I start showing off some pieces here to see if we get any more people coming. Hope you guys are doing well. You're getting me today fresh out of the shower. I haven't even blown dry my hair. So this is what quarantine has done to me. How is everyone? I'm here working on another knitted pair of socks. Again, I'm still working on my mystery crochet along, so I can't show you any crochet right now. But I can show you the bag it's in. It's right here. The mystery, it's going to be a shawl again. So if you're interested in doing this, as soon as it's done, it's going to go to Tech Edit. And then I'll announce the crochet along. Probably, I'm hoping late June, early July that we'll do the crochet along. Just to kind of hopefully get all of us out of this quarantine funk. So how's everybody doing? Let me know in the chat. Chat's open so you guys can chat. We've been, sticking close to home, doing a lot of stuff around the house. It's been kind of a crazy thing. Hey, Karen, so glad to see you. It's just been, it's been really hard being at home and not being able to do my normal stuff. Granted, I'm getting a ton of work done. The hardest part with work for me right now is I'm finishing projects, but I can't get them photographed. So a lot of my patterns that I was hoping to release, in the next few weeks, I have no idea when I'm going to be releasing them. So a lot of you guys saw my Queen of Hearts shawl last week. It's still sitting here on the desk. It's at Tech Edit right now, but until I can get it photographed, I have no idea when it's going to be released. I will, though, be having a call out there for you guys to test the pattern as soon as it gets back from tech editing. So if you're interested, make sure you go to my website at karenhooley.com, and on the top right-hand corner, there's a pull down that says extras, and it says become a pattern tester or something like that. I can't remember the exact wording right now. So if you're interested in testing that pattern, make sure you're on the list, because I'll be I only send pattern test calls to that email list. So make sure you're on it. So what are you guys working on? Anybody got anything cool that you're working on? I told you I'm working on some socks. These are, this yarn is actually the first time I'm using it. I bought it a couple of years ago. It's Twigs and Twine yarn. If you follow the what is her name? The hand baker's bag, hand crafter's bag. She's a local Washington seamstress. She makes project bags, and she also dyes yarn. And when she and her daughter first started dyeing yarn, I bought this one from her. It's her standard sock in strawberries and cream. It's 75 superwash merino and 25% nylon. So it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's really, it's a fingering weight, but I don't know if you can see, it's a little cushier than most fingering weights. So I'm really excited for these socks. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Oh, yay, Sandy, you started Beachcomber. After crocheting 2, you're able to use the sizing pictures. Yay, awesome. So are you using worsted weight for this, or DK? I can't remember, Sandy, what you're using for your Beachcombers. And Karen is working on a Tunisian hat and a cardi with yarns from Expression Fiber Arts. Okay. I forgot you were working with those yarns. Those are, if you haven't heard of Expression Fiber Arts, she's a gal out of one of the Carolinas. Karen might remember which Carolina, but she does like small batch dyeing on, she has some standard colors, but she does a lot of one-off colors in all sorts of different bases, fingering to worsted. I think she even has a lace weight, silks and merinos and all sorts of stuff. So North Carolina, that's where she's at. So check her out too if you haven't tried Expressions Fiber Arts. Brava Sport Weight. Okay, Sport Weight is what you're making them out of. Cool. Okay. Definitely post pictures, Sandy, as you're working on this stuff. I'd love to see them. I'm going to go ahead and start showing you guys some stuff that I promised in the little teaser about this live. Most of you know I learned to crochet at 7 years old from my Nonna. That's Italian for grandma, if you don't know what Nonna is. And she's kind of been close to my heart lately because my new book that's coming out, I finally have a release date. It's June 2nd. It's going to come out on June 2nd. If you haven't seen the book, I showed it last week, Modern Italian Lace Crochet. And if you're on my website or on my blog newsletter, you just got the first post about this book, introducing the book. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to be posting about each individual pattern in this book and about it and what all the yarns are and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of building up so you guys can see what's in the book. One thing that I didn't put in these blog posts is the introduction, which is the introduction to my grandmother, or my Nonna, who taught me to crochet. I did show this last week too. Here's her baby picture. Here's her passport when she came back to the United States to marry my grandfather. But the story here of her life, as much as it relates to crochet, as well as how she taught me to crochet, is in this book. So that part you have to get the book for to know that story and her story. Karen's asking me, when's pre-sale? Okay, pre-sale is only for my newsletter subscribers. Well, actually, they get first stab at it. I usually do pre-sales 2 weeks before the book is released, and that would be, I have to look at my calendar now, the week of May 19th. So if you are a newsletter subscriber, make sure, or if you're not a newsletter subscriber, make sure you're on my newsletter before then, because I will be sending out a special newsletter before the 19th that allows you to get your pre-orders in before I open it to the public. So my newsletter subscribers always get a discount, usually $2 or $3 off the book for a limited period of time, and then it opens up to the public at the regular price. This year, there's always a goodie bag. Everybody knows. I'm not sure if it's going to be a full-blown goodie bag because this quarantine has kind of messed with everything. But there is going to be a custom stitch marker, and I should have that custom stitch marker sometime later this week or early next week, and I will be posting about that as well. And I'll probably show it at my next stream too if I have them by then. So I'm really excited. I can't wait for you guys to see this new stitch marker. But anyway, so let's get back to my Nonna here and some of the things that I have from her. I actually have a huge box in my stash closet of a lot of her embroidery stuff. I was given some pieces of crochet that she had done. It's packed away right now, so I could not get to that, but I do have some major pieces here of things that she had done over the years. And I don't know if any of my family is online. I invited my sister and my cousin to join, but I don't know, but they would probably remember this. This is a little puppy dog that my Nonna made. You can see it used to be white. It's kind of graying. I don't have the big bright light. I had to pull the shade down a little because it's really sunny out there. It was making me washed out. But this is, when I was growing up, she actually made me a huge one. It was probably, a good 14, 16 inches tall and probably this big around, in this bright, bright pink. My sister had a purple one that always sat on our bed. And I think my mom still has those in her house because I can't seem to find mine anywhere. So my mom probably still has that. But for somehow in the box of stuff that after my Nonna passed in 1992, I got a box of her stuff, and this little bear, or this little little puppy dog was in it. And also in it, in that same box, was one that was deconstructed. And this one I have in a bag because it's so old that the yarn is starting to get really crusty. You know what I'm talking about? So it's in the bag. But what's really cool about having it unstuffed and deconstructed is that I am planning to release this pattern, because along with that, I found in that box, I'm going to pull it out here. I got to unclip it because I've got my notes on it too. I found her handwritten, this is my Nonna's handwriting, her handwritten instructions in Italian, how to make these dogs. So is anybody interested in this pattern, having me write it in American UK terms, and being able to make it for, I don't know, your kids, your grandkids? If you're interested, let me know, and I'll start working on that. It's been actually on my list for several years to make this dog a pattern. Yay, okay, you guys, Karen and Brat's mom are telling me, yeah, okay. So it'll be fun to recreate these. In fact, I'm thinking I might try to size them in the 2 sizes, because this is the small, and the instructions she gave me, or I have found in the boxes, for the larger size. So I can actually deconstruct this one, or reverse engineer, I guess is the proper word for it. Reverse engineer these two to get the smaller size once I get the bigger size put together. So that way maybe I'll have a 2-in-1 pattern. Who knows? But it's really kind of fun, because if you've ever done the loop stitch, the hardest part about doing the loop stitch is keeping the loops even. And my grandmother was the master of the loop stitch. I can't even believe how even after all these years of this being out different places, because I remember this one being in her house when I was growing up on one of the beds. And after all these years of all of my cousins and I probably touching this, and the loops are still in beautiful condition. So, okay, so I will, yes, Karen, it is in Italian, the instruction, and I can read it. I learned to crochet in Italian. In that stories, again, is in my book, but my grandmother didn't speak much English, and everything that she did speak was mostly broken. So when I was learning, my mom helped me translate it a little bit at first, but I know how to read an Italian pattern, which is something that's really kind of odd, because I don't speak Italian as much as I used to, but for some reason crochet still sticks in my mind. So I guess it's because it's one of my earliest memories. Okay, so this was actually not from my Nonna, but from my nonno, her husband, my grandfather's sister, okay? When my nonno and nonna got married in 1929, and I wish I had a date for this piece, but my grandfather's sister, Zia Geni, made this bedspread for my grandparents as a wedding gift. My mom and my aunt, when they gave it to me, told me it was definitely my Zia Geni who made this one, and it was a wedding gift. Used to be, I guess my grandmother used to display it on one of the beds when they were growing up. I don't know the entire story. I'm going to try to hold this up. It's huge. It's a full-size bedspread done in a filet crochet. I don't know if you can see this. Size 10 thread, but there's the edging. Can you see the edging there? Isn't this gorgeous? Gorgeous lace and edging.
I'm on it.
Oh,
there's no one in your contacts. That's gorgeous.
And Siri just decided to talk to me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to turn off my phone here really quick. But anyway, this was made somewhere in 1928, 1929 by my Zia is aunt in Italian. So Zia Geni is what we used to call her. I don't know how else to, oh, I should probably show this. This is really cool. This is one of the cool things about this bedspread. I don't know if you can see right here. Oop. It looks good on my screen. I'm hoping you guys can see. See how she's got these open corners? So it fits on the bed. And the lace drapes around the corner properly without wrinkling and stuff like that. Cassie will probably get this at some point, or one of my kids will, because I have two. This is again not my Nonna, but it was a piece that she used to have in her house by my grandfather's sister. So I'm going to put that one away. Now here's a piece coming. Let me put this back in its bag. And the funny thing is this is how my grandmother stored it, in these clear plastic bags. It's still pristine white. I don't know why it's still pristine white. It's not, it hasn't started yellowing or anything yet. As far as I know, it's never been washed. So, or at least if it's been washed the normal, in the, you know, probably soaked and laid out, that kind of thing. Right, Karen, is perfect for a footboard or a four-poster bed. I just remember my mom laying this out on her full-size bed in her house and how it just draped around the corner of the bed. It was amazing. Now, this bag is not going to let me zip. Why? Okay, I'll fix that later. And then this one is actually one that my Nonna made. And there is a picture of this, part of this in the book itself, so you'll get to see a better close-up with it when you get the book. That's true too, Karen. No sun, humidity, or body oils, absolutely. Okay, this one actually came with a note. It's my Nonna and her handwriting. And I'm going to translate it exactly the way I translated it in the book, just so that, because I tend to stumble over this for some reason. But basically it says, I made this blanket with my hands when I was a girl in Italy in 1928 and left in 1929 in the early months of the year. I arrived in America on May 29th in 1929. Mama Mary Parducci. Now my Nonna told me when she showed me this years ago that she started it in Italy before she left. And then when she was on the boat coming over, because that back then they took the boat to the United States, and she had to travel around around South America through what she used to call the Horn, around to San Francisco when she arrived. And she was met in San Francisco by my nonno, her future husband, and her brother, Gino. They were both Gino, which is funny. Gino Pauletti was her brother, and Gino Parducci is her husband. And so she finished it, as far as I know, she finished it on the boat. My mom always said, yes, she finished it on the boat. But I have a picture of this as well. And this is probably, or a picture in the book as well. This is probably my most prized possession. This is where all the history for me of crochet has come from. Even though I didn't work on any pieces with her that is part of this bedspread, I did a lot of thread work with her. And so this is probably one of the every time I touch it, I can feel her. So if I start to cry, I'm apologizing right now. But this is hers. This is actually done in squares. I don't know if you can see right here. I'm going to stand up a little. Here's a join, and then here's a join. It's really hard to tell that they're sewn together. I mean, if you look at it from a distance, it looks like it's all one piece. It looks like these were their own pieces, but they're not. If you look closely, they're whip stitched together. The squares are whip stitched. So that's the main body. This is one of those bedspreads that I look at those squares and I think I need to reverse engineer these and produce the pattern for them, because I've never seen a pattern similar to this. I mean, I've seen similar, but not exactly the same thing. So that is the main body of the bedspread. Here is the edging. It's a filet crochet as well, added at the end. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just, I don't even know how much time this must have taken to put this thing together. I wish my grandmother died in 1992, And I wish I would have had the presence of mind to ask her, you know, how long this took, what, you know, what inspired her to do this. If this was, I know that she didn't do this from a pattern. I know that maybe the squares were a pattern, but she put it all together herself. It wasn't from any book or any magazine that they had back in the day. This was all something she put together, and this was what they had on their bed for years and years, as far as I know. Thank you, is it Ellie or Eli? Thank you for sharing your wonderful family history. For me, crochet is my history. It's probably, when I think of my grandmother, the most, I don't even know. I mean, there was a lot of things she shared with me. She taught me how to cook a lot of different things. She taught me embroidery. She taught me a little bit of sewing. My mom pretty much did all the sewing lessons, but my Nonna helped me sew a few things that my mom would have me bring over and have her help me with, things like that. But crochet was, I can still remember her sitting right next to me and, you know, moving my hand, making me flip from the knife hold to the pencil hold, because the proper Italian girls do not hold knife hold, they hold pencil hold. So I can work both ways. But when I'm crocheting, it's when I feel closest to my grandmother. So it's probably the most important part of the family history for me as a member of my family. Yeah, so sorry guys, I'm getting emotional. This book that I'm doing, a Modern Italian Lace Crochet, has, I think I cried through the entire book, working on every single pattern at some point, whether it was because it was from her stitch dictionaries, or I was remembering things that she taught me. So this book is kind of a very, very personal book, and I really hope that you guys enjoy all the pieces and the story that I put into that book. It's my way, I guess, of giving back to my Nonna all that she gave to me as far as crochet is concerned. And even if I don't make a single penny on this book, it will be worth all the time I put into it, because it brought back so many memories. But anyway, this is, like I said, this is probably my biggest things, my biggest memory. I mean, I have a lot of other things from my Nonna too. I have pictures, and I have pieces of her kitchen, you know, whether it's her spaghetti pot I have and things like that. But crochet is probably the biggest thing. Always sounds like my family. I'm originally from Argentina, but my grandma's family was Italian and grew up in an Italian family. Oh, yay! Well, it's coming. Make sure you're on my newsletter, and it will be, it's coming, it will be released on June 2nd. However, I'm doing a pre-sale for my newsletter subscribers, and it'll be open to the public too eventually. But I will ship all those books in time for you to get them on the launch date. So make sure you're on there. And it's funny too, because my grandmother always used to talk about having a Brazilian connection. And I'm also tasked, I think I mentioned this last time, I've also been tasked with, by my mother, to do the family tree on my grandmother's side, my Nonna's side. And I actually finally found the Brazilian connection and all the family that grew up in Brazil. It's actually my great-grandmother's sister who moved with her husband to Brazil and had all her kids in Brazil. So that was kind of exciting for me, because I always heard about it, but I never knew who they were. So that's kind of fun too. So those are the things I wanted to show you. I'll probably at some point get the other box out and pull out some pieces and show you guys those too. It's just that they're so packed away right now. I also have a box that I kind of teased some of the photos back in the I want to say it was in the late 1990 or 2019. I was going through some boxes in my closet, and I found a box that I had forgotten I had from my dad's side of the family. And he had an aunt, his dad's sister, Zia Geni, who was a crocheter. And I have some amazing, amazing pieces that are full-blown pieces, everything from table runners to pot holders to, I don't know what else. I have a bedspread in there, I think, and a tablecloth and all sorts of stuff that I want to show you guys too, because she's got some, I had no idea. She died in the 1950s, well before I was born, so I never got to meet her. I heard about her all my life, but I really wish I would have been able to meet her. My dad said that she was always with a crochet hook in her hand, so that's really cool. I've crocheted bedspreads and other things from my Aunt Josie, who was born in Sicily and came to America when she was a baby. Her kids didn't want them. Oh my gosh, how can you not want that stuff? Oh, I know. It's, I don't know. I guess you really have to appreciate it. My cousins, I have, my sister never learned, well, I can't say she never learned to crochet. I think my grandmother tried, but it never really stuck with her. And I have a cousin that's older than I am who she taught to sew. And I don't know if Nonna ever taught her to try to teach her crochet either. But crochet is kind of the thing that stuck with me. And so that's why when my grandmother passed away, all the crochet pieces came to me, because my aunt and my mom knew that I was going to be the one that appreciated them. And although I know that my cousin and my sister would have appreciated them, but not to the same degree, because it's what I do. I mean, crochet is kind of what I do. So there's that. But my other cousins are all boys. They always tell me it's like talking a totally different language. One of them picked up one of my books once and it just went, oh my gosh, what is this? So yeah, I can't even imagine. It's so cool though to have that connection to your family, don't you think? Those of you who have, you know, either learned from a grandmother or even your mom or an aunt. My dad's sister was a knitter and a tatter, as well as my grandmother on that side. They both knitted and tatted, and my grandma also, we called her grandma, even though she was Italian. She didn't want to be Nonna, she wanted to be grandma. She was a knitter, but she also did some crochet, and I do have some pieces from her. But the thing that I remember most from her was knitting these huge, I don't know what you call it. They're not, they're Afghans, but I can't remember the stitch, but I used to have one. My mom still has one at her house that she keeps saying that I should get someday because it's my thing. So anybody, while I'm here, I'm just going to be here for, a little while longer. So does anybody want to talk about anything else? I mean, I pretty much showed you what I was going to show you guys today. I don't know. I mean, I've been working on one of the things I got this weekend. I don't know if you guys I'm sure you guys have heard of this and seen it. It's the double-ended crochet hooks. I just got some new ones in the mail from Addie, because Cassell actually sells these, but the double-ended crochet hooks. And when I was teaching at Red Alder Fiber Arts Retreat here in Tacoma, Washington, back in February. Gosh, all the months are blending together right now. When I taught at Red Alder, everyone was asking me about this technique. I was teaching a basics class, just Tunisian basics, just a simple stitch and the knit stitch and the purl stitch and a couple other stitches. And everybody was asking me about these double-ended hooks. So I'm going to be putting together a new class on the crow hooking or the double-ended crochet or whatever you want to call it. There's so many names. Oh, yay, Sandy, let me know how the Continental knitting goes. That's awesome. But these, I'm going to be putting together a class, and I'm thinking about doing just a basic video on the basic technique. So is anybody interested in learning that? The other thing I'm thinking about doing is putting together an education platform on my website where I will have some free classes, but I'll also have some classes that'll be about like $25, like my sock class. Because a lot of people have told me, especially now with this whole virus scare, is that nobody wants to go to events. I mean, they're waiting for the events to open back up. But I'm thinking that online education might be a really good way for all of us to be able to do the things if we can't afford to go to a live show and things like that. So if anybody's interested, let me know. And I'll let you guys know when I put up this little mini video on how to do the basic stitches. It'll be here probably on YouTube. So I'll fix Karen. I know there's a lot of crochet focused sites out there that I don't know if I agree with everything they're teaching, but you know, again, I was taught by my grandmother, so a lot of the things I learned are a little different. But I try to teach I try to standardize my teaching. So what you see in books is close to what I'm doing. Some things I will, you know, tweak because they work better for me that way. And I find that my students learn a little better the way I teach things, but everybody's different. But if you're interested in double-ended hook, let me know. I know it's a technique that kind of comes and goes. Tunisian's so popular right now that people are asking about this again. So if you're interested, let me know. So that's one thing I've been doing. Let's see. Would anybody be interested in a live class, a free class on continental knitting for crocheters? Love anything Tunisian crochet. Would love the double-handed hook. Okay, cool. That's good to hear, because I heard that so much from my students at Red Alder that I don't see it much online, although I've been kind of offline the last few weeks, but I'm going to be more active again. But yeah, awesome. So because that's the other thing. So a lot of people have been asking me about learning continental knitting, because they're crocheters and they've had everybody they know is a thrower, and that's how I learned to knit. It took me 30 years to learn to knit after I learned to crochet, because nobody could teach me continental. And once I learned continental, then I understood what the throwers were doing. So when I was working at a yarn shop, I was able to do both. Yes, continental knitting is very cool. Now, I kind of do mine a little differently, the way I move my hands. A lot of people don't move their hand and let their right hand do everything. I tend to move mine a little bit, but that's just me. I mean, as long as you understand the motions, you can continental knit any way you want. So that's something else. Okay, cool. I might put that together too. Throwing hurts my shoulder now that I'm older. Yeah, I can understand that. I tend to throw only when I'm doing knitted color work. So like I just finished, I should have taken a picture of it. I didn't even think about it. I made these cool socks for my daughter that were cactuses, because she loves cactuses. And so I was throwing and continental because of the color work, doing two colors in the same row. So I had to do both. And it's nice to know both ways, but as a crocheter, continental will help you understand how the stitches come together. And then if you need to throw to do color work, you can throw. You'll understand how to throw. But yeah, throwing for me is slower. I mean, I can knit a single sock in 3 days because as a continental knitter. So, oh, Tyler's socks from last week. They're in his room, but he's teaching. Well, he's actually living in my daughter's room. My son is a teacher, and he lives 3 hours south of us. But now that the schools are on lockdown and they have to do online classes, he did not want to be by himself during this quarantine. So he moved into my daughter's room, and he's actually teaching classes right now via Zoom in his room. So I can't go grab those socks. I will bring them out next week and show them to you guys. But I just finished them, not last night, the night before. And they're beautiful. I love yarn. So knitting with both hands is super cool. I mean, it's very clunky at first because you're literally, I don't know if you guys can understand what I'm doing, but when I'm knitting, I have the yarn in my left hand the way I do when I'm crocheting, and I just use the needle to knit. But when I have to use a second color, I'm going to use the tail here for an example. It's really hard for me to figure out how to get the yarn the way I want it to. So when I knit, or when I throw, I have to stop and I have to wrap and then I have to knit. And it slows me down, where this way, but if I use my left hand or my right hand to throw, I mean, it works. I don't know if you guys can see what I did. The stitches are, So those 2 pink stitches that are there, that's my throw, and my knit, or my my Continental, or this white one in the middle. But you see how it slows me down. Whereas if I just continue to do, I'm going to take these stitches out really fast. So I don't have my tail in there. Oops. Take that out. I take my tail out. And if I'm knitting just straight Continental, see how fast I can just whip this out as I'm going. But if you guys are interested, oh, thank you. My daughter called these robin egg blues. So I did them for Easter. Thank you for telling me my nails look good. They actually are starting to chip, so I need to redo them, and they're getting too long, and my typing is getting really bad. So, but yeah, so knitting, I've been knitting, oh gosh, let's see, 10, 11, I've been knitting about 16 years now. So I am a little faster now, but it's kind of cool with knitting is, it's kind of the thing I do when I need to not think about crochet for a little bit. You know, like if I've got a pattern that's not working out the way I want it to, or something like that, I'll just pick up start knitting socks. And I always have socks on the needles because my family loves them and I love them, and they're such a no-brainer. Will I teach Nonna socks? Actually, that's Grandma's sock. But I can teach Grandma's sock. That's how I learned to knit socks. So if you're interested in that, let me write these things down while I'm thinking what you guys are telling me. Hang on, let me grab my pad of paper here that I use for all my notes. Oh man, I've got too many notes in here that I need to start thinking about. Here we go. All right, so you guys want me to do the double-ended hook. Continental knitting. And this knit sock. I'm assuming, Brat's mom, you're talking about my knit socks, right? I'm also thinking about bringing my crochet socks classes online, if you guys are interested in that too. Those are some those are my 6-hour classes. I teach, well, actually, okay, so knit socks, yes, cool. My crochet sock class, I do a cuff down class that is a 6-hour class. But I would probably break it up into segments instead of just doing the solid 3 hours and a solid 3 hours. And then I teach a toe up class. It's based on the cuff down, but you need to take cuff down first in order to make sense of the toe up. And that's only a 3-hour class because you've already got the basics of the sock construction. So if you're interested in that, that's one I'm going to probably bring online. Another one that I'm going to bring online that everybody has been asking me for lately is, yes, CGOA. I'm going to be teaching. If you're going to go to the Crochet Guild of America's Chain Link Conference this summer, hopefully it will still be happening in July. I'll be teaching my cuff down socks class. But the other class that socks are so much fun. I like them because even crocheted socks, because they are such a portable pattern project. Like I said, I always have knit socks on the needles, and every once in a while I will switch it up to the crochet socks. And my family likes the crocheted socks too, just because when we take a long car ride or if I'm on a plane, they're the easiest project to take with me, and I can crochet a pair of socks in 2 days. So, and that's probably if I'm working maybe 5 hours each day, I can make a sock in about 5 hours. So yes, crocheted socks are awesome because they're fast too. And they're very much they're, in my opinion, they're easier to make and size to your own foot because you don't have to worry about all the live loops and running, you know, dropping stitches and running stitches down and stuff like that. So if you're interested in those, that's another one I'm thinking about doing. And then the other one that everybody keeps asking me for is my top-down sweater class. So I'll probably do that one as well. I don't know how far into the future. I have to worry. I have to get the book launched first. So then that's June 2nd. And then there's a few other things in my life that are happening that I haven't quite made public yet, but I'll be making those public soon, that I have to go first before I actually start recording classes. But I can do little mini classes, and not a problem. So like I said, the double-ended hook will be a little probably like a 10-minute video on how to do just the basic flipping the hook and using 2 colors. So it'll be an easy little thing. Karen, you need a private lesson for what? For knitting or other stuff? Let's see what I teach. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, I think I answered everybody's question except for Karen's asking about a private lesson. I'm not sure what you were asking for a private lesson for. So anything else, guys, want to talk about? What projects are you working on these days? I know Karen and Sandy both mentioned earlier. One is Karen's working with doing a hat and a sweater. And Sandy is doing my Beachcomber sweater from my Coastal Crochet book. So, but what are you guys all working on? And I think I showed, those of you who may have joined later, here's my mystery crochet along that we're going to be having later this year. So can't show that, but I can show you the bag. So what are you guys working on? I think I might just pick up my knitting here for a little bit. We can just chat about whatever. Nobody wants to share their projects. Okay. I'm probably going to be, once I get the mystery crochet along, which I'm hoping, I had a little hiccup last week on it. That's why it's not done yet. I'm hoping maybe later this week or early next week it'll be done. But after that, I'm going to be working on, yes, I'm already thinking about the next book that's coming out probably in 2021, but it'll probably be later in the year in 2021. And I've already got one project done, and I'll probably get project number 2 on the hook. I'm going to be, I don't know if you can see my stash of yarn back here, but this side, 1, 2, the 3rd box down right here, my finger's going through it. That is the yarn for my next book right there, or some of it anyway. So those will be on my hook soon. Okay, Karen. Oh, Continental knitting. Okay, cool. You'll come to me. Okay. If you have them, I would love to see doilies. I'll bring out my Zia Geni stuff, Sandy, for the doilies. I can't promise it'll be next week, but I will get them out soon because there's a huge box of that stuff. Brassman, I'm working on a shawl from Blueprint, the impulsive lace shawl. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I'd like to see that one. I'll have to look that one up. That's cool. It seems like a lot of you guys like shawls. My Garden of Shawls crochet book, that my very first self-published one I did back in 2017. Yeah, 2017. That was still selling on Amazon. I'm really surprised at how many copies of that book I have sold. And I am going to be doing one thing too. If you're not on my newsletter, you might want to get on my newsletter, because on Friday when I send out my newsletter, it's my usual informational one. It's not like usually I do a newsy one that's, tells you about patterns that are coming up and things like that, or where I'm teaching. But the second newsletter every month, I do an educational one. It's not quite so educational this time. It's more of asking for some help. But I also have at the bottom that I am going to be doing a sale on all my books. Because of this new book coming in, I need to get rid of some of my stock. So if you're interested in getting any of my other books at a discount, now's a good time to get on my list, because it'll be coming the 1st of May. I'll be doing a big sale. But if you're interested in my Pineapple Passion book, it is on sale right now because I have a huge overstock. I ordered far too many of the book, and I have a huge overstock of Pineapple Passion, and it's on sale right now for 50% off, and it will be through the end of May. So if you're interested, you're going to be getting some teasers on Instagram and Facebook for my new book. But I can show you, let me show you the table of contents. If you've ever gotten any of my books, my table of contents are always photos of the projects. I have 3 garments, 1, 2, 3 garments. I have a topper, a hat, 1, 2, 3, 4 shawls. And this one right here is kind of a shrug, but it's also a scarf. It's got the buttons so you can wear it multiple ways. My sweaters are sized from an extra small to a 5X. So you've got lots of sizes for the garments. This little topper here is basically 2 rectangles sewn together to make a little topper. This shawl here is made with squares. This one's a traditional triangle. So you get some ideas. This is a rectangular shawl. This is another triangular shawl. So yeah, the blue top is, you'll see that pattern. Let's see. Tomorrow starts 1, 2, 3. So next week you'll see that blue top that on Instagram and on my blog. I'm blogging starting. Well, today I started with just introducing the book on my blog, and then tomorrow and Thursday there'll be the first 2 patterns, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the next few weeks are going to be all the patterns in the book. There's 10 total in the book, so you'll get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week a notification. If you're on my blog newsletter, you'll automatically get an email when the blog post goes live for you to be able to read about them. I also post on Instagram and Facebook links to those blog posts later in the day, not when they're first launched. So if you want to see what's in those, all those patterns, they'll be there. Yay, Sandy, good. I'm glad you'll be watching for those. And again, the pre-sales will go on the week of the 19th of May. So you'll be able to order your book. And again, I'm going to be doing a custom stitch marker, because I don't know if those of you who have been with me from the beginning probably have my first three stitch markers. I'm kind of doing, a custom marker each time. These 3 markers were done by Ann Tudor. She's a glass artist, and so they're all glass. This is my first one. It's just the logo of my imprint, which is Occhi Blue Press, which is also Italian, what my grandfather used to call me. My Nonna used to call me Occhi Blue, which is blue eyes. Then Coastal Crochet, we got the starfish, and then for Pineapple Passion, we had the pineapple. Anne had to shut down her business a few weeks ago because of this coronavirus. Not shut it down completely, but stopped making custom glass markers for a little bit. And then because of that, I had to find a different person to do my markers. It's not going to be glass this time, but I'm really excited because it fits the theme a little bit better than a glass marker would. But then she reopened last week after I'd already ordered all these others. So it's not going to be matching like I was hoping to do, but I'm actually more excited about this new marker than I would have been with the glass one. So I'm really excited. Hopefully next week I'll have it so that you can see what it's going to look like. So, so I've got another about 10 minutes before I need to go and start working on some other stuff. But anybody have any questions for me? I showed you the book. I'm trying to think of anything else that I can show you. One of the things I'm working on too is I'm going to be doing a big old postcard push for local yarn shops for my book. I just got the postcards in the mail over the weekend. So I'm working on getting a list of yarn shops. So if you have a local yarn shop that you would like me to let know about my new book coming, let me know and I'll put them on the list and I'll make sure they get a postcard about with all the information about how to order. What else is going on around here? I'm trying to think. My daughter's graduating in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. She's graduating in 4 weeks from college, which is kind of interesting. That's new and exciting coming up. Of course, she can't walk, but she'll be coming home and living with us until she gets a job either outside the house or outside, that she can support herself, or until she gets married, which she's also engaged. So, and that wedding will probably be in about 1.5 years, 2 years. So that's new. I'm trying to think what else might be going on that I can talk about. There's so many things that are happening that I cannot talk about yet. And I'm really excited to share with you. It's so hard not to just blurt it all out. But I will be definitely sharing a lot of this stuff soon. I don't know what else. How was my Easter? My Easter was really good. It was just my husband and my son and I. My daughter's still at her university, so she didn't come home. I'm trying to think. We just basically hung around the house, did some work around the house, played a couple board games. It was really quiet. It was kind of nice though, too. Yay. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and thank you for the congratulations on my daughter. I mean, we're excited for her. So talk to you soon. And make sure you send me a photo of Beachcomber too, Sandy, when you get a chance. I'd like to see what you're doing with it. I'm trying to think what else can I share? There's so much I want to share and I can't yet. Let me see if there's anything on my desk that might remind me. Oh, you know what I have been doing? I may have been making masks. I don't know how many of you are making masks. I happen to have some cotton in my stash that I decided to make a few masks for my family. These actually were very easy pattern. If you follow on Instagram, Mimi G, she's a former clothing designer, pattern designer for Simplicity. And she has a free pattern for these masks and they're really awesome. So I made 3 of those last week. Took me like 10 minutes each. So that's how easy that pattern is. I'm trying to think what else is going on around here. That's about it. So might as well go ahead and sign off unless anybody has anything else to ask. I will, I'm just reading here, making sure I didn't miss anything. Cool. Doesn't look like I've missed anything. So if anybody has anything, let me know. You can always go to my website at KarenHooley.com and use my contact form. Or now that Easter's over, I'm losing my voice now. Excuse me. Now that Easter's over, I will be back on social media, so you can always ping me there. Or if you've got my email address, you can email me if you have questions. I'm always available. I am working on a couple projects, so if I don't answer immediately, you know why. But one of them has got a lot of typing right now. I'm setting up a database for myself of yarn shops, so it's taking a little bit of time. But I will be on and off email as well and social media. Although the funny thing is for me is that I have been off social media for 6 weeks of Lent. And Sunday I was able to go back on, and I'm finding that I didn't really miss social media as much as I thought I was. I mean, I miss contacting with all of you, but or connecting with all of you, but just scrolling through my feed doesn't really excite me anymore. And I don't know if that's because everybody's talking about the coronavirus, but I'll be active on social media, but it's going to be definitely all crochet and maybe, you know, a couple cat pictures here and there, or my family, something like that, but mostly crochet. So I'm hoping to get a little bit away from all that coronavirus stuff. So you'll be watching for that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you this week. I will definitely come back next week if you guys are interested, and we'll chat more. Okay, so have a great day, everyone. And if you need anything, just holler. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.